Dear friend, have you ever skipped the light fandango, turned cartwheels across the floor? Were you feeling kind of seasick? Well, you've come to the right place, for we too have made ourselves dizzy searching for truth. Welcome to the First Unified Church of Karma. I'm your holy, wholehearted, and slightly unholy host, the Reverend Blind Doc Lemon Jellyroll Jefferson. And we too are interested in searching for meaning where no one else has bothered to look. We at the First Unified Church of Karma live good lives, play our fiddles with pride, and thank God we are a country boy. We do not stand at the door and knock. We're knocking on heaven's door. We know where you are coming from, and it is not from here, or else we would have seen you before. We are here for you, fellow questioner, and we have answers, for we have found them, and so much more, in the Rock of Sages. Our text for today is drawn from The Lighter Shade of Pale by Procol Harum, verse 1. We skipped the light fandango, turned cartwheels across the floor. I was feeling kinda seasick, but the crowd called out for more. The room was humming harder as the ceiling flew away. When we called out for another drink, the waiter brought a tray. Dear friend, our task for today is to take a close look at one of the most mysterious texts to see what we can glean from it. We have chosen a difficult job to take the inscrutable and screw it. We take the road less traveled by, and that will make all the difference. Let's begin with the basics. What in the First Unified Church of Karma is a Procol Harum? According to the members of the band, Procol Harum was thought to mean beyond these things in Latin. It does not, in fact, mean this, but by missing the mark, they have indeed gone beyond these things. They have gone beyond meaning. They have gone beyond the ability to understand. What an extraordinary feat, to go beyond meaning by going beyond the meaning of the words used to describe going beyond meaning. How meta is that? That, dear friend, is the purest form of meta, and we rejoice in the pure stuff. We skip the light fandango. Many adventures start by skipping the light fandango. I myself have skipped the light fandango. You can skip the light without fandango as well. Skipping the light is as important as seeing the light, for skipping goes beyond seeing. You can see the light before you skip it, or you can skip it without ever seeing it, with or without the fandango. How meaningful is that? Unfortunately, the world is not as fandango-friendly as it once was. Fandango is hard to find, and we are poorer because of it. Is there any meaningful fandango to be found? Have we lost our fandango? That, my friend, is a sad question. But wait, there's more. This adventure involves a twist. Though they were feeling kind of seasick, they heard the crowd call out for more. Courageously, they responded with gusto. They skipped the light even harder, adding even more fandango. They gave as much as they could to the crowd. I don't know, but this dancer seems to have pushed themselves close to their limit. The room hummed harder as the ceiling flew away, as ceilings often do. It was at that point that everything became surreal. Up was down was up, and the humming took away all the audible references to normality that we cling to. Like a Dali painting, we imagine the clocks melting and the lines blurring between inanimate objects and animals. They were not in Kansas anymore. They were in a state that was like a dream, or perhaps a nightmare. And in the midst of this seeming madness, behold, the waiter brought a tray. Glory be to this waiter, for in the midst of an encounter with surrealism, in the midst of the suspension of reality and of meaning, in the midst of an uncertain past, present, and future, the waiter served them drinks. And with refreshment came stability, meaning, and focus. There is so much wisdom in this for us, dear friend. If you are ever in a moment where reality becomes disjointed, where the future is uncertain and the end is always near, call out for a waiter. Good waitstaff can provide you with sustenance and a place from which to recover your wits. If you want to serve a life of purpose, a life that brings meaning and fulfillment to others in the vast vicissitudes of vagaries, if you want to make sense of nonsense, if you want to take the absurd and make it surd, raise your hand, my friend. Raise your hand and say, "Excuse me, can I get a little service around here?" And while you're at it, be sure to tip generously when and if you can afford it. And so it was that later, as the miller told his tale, that her face, at first just ghostly, turned a whiter shade of pale. And it came to pass that the miller told his tale. Could this be a reference to Chaucer's The Canterbury Tales, that late 14th century collection of stories that high schoolers couldn't wait to read in English class? Fortunately, no. The lyricist has disavowed any connection to the tales of that Middle English snooze fest of a homework assignment, for the songwriter had never read the Miller's Tale. Perhaps this is his attempt to make up for being absent the day it was taught. Surely there are other Millers with tales to tell. Maybe that's what it is. Must be that. And so, dear friend, I searched within and without for the ultimate meaning of the song, and I found nothing. My search ended with more questions than answers. Why was the young girl's face at first just ghostly? Who were the 16 Vestal virgins? Why would King Neptune need a ride? This passage left me like Odysseus, tied to the mast and twisting in the wind, googling all night long, feeling as ghostly and pale as a lady on shore leave. I took the only reasonable course. I gave up, and I gave in. And just as I had given up on finding any meaning, just as the first rays of the morning sun streamed across the sky, I looked, as if for the first time, at the next verse. She said there is no reason, and the truth is plain to see. In that moment, I had an epiphany. My question was answered with a question. Why do lyrics have to mean anything? As Sigmund Freud once said, sometimes a cigar is just a cigar. The words to this song may be just such a cigar of truth that has no meaning, a cigar of no reason, a cigar that is at sea. It's enough to make one a non-smoker. So be careful what you smoke, dear friend, because your face, at first just ghostly, may turn a whiter shade of pale. So it is time, dear friend, for us to make like the 16 Vestal virgins and head for the coast. We do so not in ignorance, but in wisdom. We have learned that the search for meaning is filled with contradictions, that behind is in front, that truth in dirt is clean, and most importantly, that there is no such thing in life as meaningful meaning. But rather than give up and give in, you can always call for the waitstaff. As we take our leave, keep in mind that even though your eyes may be open, they may just as well be closed. As you travel life's road and learn the spiritual truths of rock and roll, be sure to keep some Dramamine handy. So be it, or so not be it, or maybe just let it be. And so can I get an amen? On second thought, I'll give you one, and you can take it to mean whatever you'd like. Amen.
The Reverend Blonde Doc Lamed Jellyroll Jefferson would like to personally thank you for listening to his message for today, but he can't unless you leave a message in the comments. The First Unified Church of Karma, like all other institutions, is a made-up organization. We are not affiliated with any other organization, religious or otherwise. Unlike other nonprofits, this is a for-profit organization. The First Church exists only on the internet and is monetized because that's how the internet is now, and YouTube is no exception. You are always welcome to listen for free, but if you choose to support us, send us your non-tax deductible donation through Patreon, and feel free to resist the incessant ads that tend to pop up at the wrong time. The services of the First Unified Church of Karma are intended as entertainment as we explore the STRR, the spiritual truths of rock and roll. We do not intend in any way to demean or denigrate the truths we find or the great creators of the rock and roll through whom we have received wisdom. Should you achieve enlightenment while listening to any portion of our content, we are not to be held liable in any way, so deal with it. We will endeavor to keep comments open to all, but that is subject to change. If trolls ruin it for everyone, that's on them. All messages remain the property of the First Unified Church of Karma. Be sure to return for a visit every time we release a new podcast, which will be whenever the spirit in the sky moves us, which at this point is 3 or 4 times a month. He that has earbuds to hear, let him hear.